free radicals. When the metabolism increases, and there are more free radicals. But when the metabolism or the function of the thyroid is too low, you cannot secrete, neutralize the free radicals. Too low and too high, both bad concerning the free radicals. Yes, and here the amino acids that you must read again and again. And you, here once more, carnitine, gluten, and you will find it. That is your experience that so many people with cancer, there is a deficiency of these. You will have the experience. And then we speak about all these amino acids, and so on and so on. And for example, which are the properties of carnitine? You cannot keep in mind all that. You can, perhaps you can keep in mind the keyword. Every amino acid has a keyword. Carnitine is a fat burner. That carnitine transports the fat into the mitochondria, and then ATP is accelerated. And target system, heart, cancer, cachexia. That you can keep in mind. And when you have here Q10, oh, so many, can you keep in mind? Perhaps you, not me. And here, keyword Q10, energy, ATP, production, antioxidant, and target system, heart, cancer. And so you have a big help to keep it in memory. Here, alpha lipoic acid, brain protection. Because it is so small, and brain, heart, and liver too, and so on. And yes, unorganic selenium. Beyond 100 microgram, only unorganic selenium. And I tell you why. Because they are very similar. Sulfur and selenium. They belong to the same group in the periodic system. And then here, really, it is very nice. And here you see that is a sixth group. That is oxygen, sulfur, selenium, and tellure and polonium. Repeat it by heart without looking there. Repeat the sixth group. Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. Polonium is radioactive. Yes, but that was a joke. It is not necessary to keep that all in mind. And every tissue contains sulfur. Contains every tissue here, or our connective tissue. Everywhere, cysteine, methionine, and so on. And glutamine, they have always sulfur in it. And here is oxygen, and here is sulfur, and here is selenium. When you have high quantities of selenium, that means 300 up to 900 micrograms. Then selenium will displace sulfur out of the compounds in our connective tissue. And to avoid this, when you give them, the patient, if you're unorganic, then it cannot penetrate into the protein compounds with sulfur. Also, sulfur is even more important for your entire body. And therefore, you will not damage or displace sulfur out of the compounds, and therefore anorganic selenium. Anorganic selenium cannot displace sulfur in the organic compounds, cannot displace. And that is the reason for it, yes. Polysaccharid. Curcuma. Curcuma prevents that, therefore, curcum, Landenberg, curcum, we had yesterday. Curcum prevents from metastasis. Reduces chronic myeloinflammation. Look, when there is a prostate problem. And, but here, prevent metastasis. Best remedy after my experience and after not my experience, my measurements. And that is curcuma. Here, a lot of good properties. And here, oh yes, where you can order it, it is in Germany. Resveratrol, that is in wine, red wine, stimulation of the, when there are apoptosis, when there are a lot of damaged cells, they must die. And how? Via the apoptosis. Resveratrol. And quercetin. Redifferentiation of the degenerative cell. You have a degenerated liver cell, as we mentioned it, and perhaps with quercetin you can redifferentiate it from the cancer cell back to the liver cell. Yes, and here colostrum, we apply very often colostrum, that is the milk, first milk of a cow, better of a horse, after birth, and colostrum, really, really, drift from TH2, vitamin D3. No cancer treatment without vitamin D3. As I told you, it is not a vitamin, it is a corticosteroid. Therefore, so many properties. And D3 harmonizes the cell division, especially in the urogenital system, harmonizing. And you will, when you test it, or you can increase amplification. Oh, is my measurement not correct? Because it's so high increase. Yes, you need. In Germany, because of the cloudy sky, as here today too, we have always, we have everywhere a deficiency of vitamin D3. And how much? Not as in your book, perhaps the old book of the university. How much do you prescribe? 1,000 international units. 1,000, not 400, not 600, 1,000. And you can prescribe even 2,000. There's no problem. But here, I think, as whether there is a problem of the intestine, and I test D3 and du guck mal, haben wir das dabei, D3, guckst du mal im Immunsystem, wie Vitamin D3. We will look. And only when we have the break, when I have it with me, it is the ELH. Du kannst das da suchen unter Mitochondria. Ja, oder geht das schlecht? Nee, da ist es nicht. Ist hier in... Ach so, ja, we will do it afterwards. And we will see. I will test 2 or 3 persons with vitamin D3 and you will see it is a very, very high amplification, and that is a very, very good. You can influence so many processes. Here, harmonizes cell division. That is the secret of D3. The cell harmonizes cell division. Example, it has at the correct time, not pop, 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 and then nothing, pop, 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 and it harmonizes at the correct time. And especially urogenital system with men and women, and I must add for the brain, perhaps even more important, the proven effect, yeah. Here also, here the intestinal polyps.
Question about for this week, if a patient they don't have cancer, but one doctor prescriptions D3, 50,000.
Yes. And now we test in every test. We test vitamin D3, 1,000 units, 1,000 units, or even 2,000 units, 3,000 units. And what is? How do you do? Can you decide how much you can give? At first, you put in the input, for example, 600 units, 600. And then you can increase the amplification, that means very good. And then you add another one. And then you can increase more and more. And then you add 3,000. And always the indicator remains in the neutral position. And when you add another one, then the indicator will go down, and that is too much. You add one pill to another pill, and always you can increase the amplification, and suddenly when you add the fourth pill, for example, then the indicator will go down, and that is too much. Then you remove the last one, and then the indicator rests in there. Yes? Here, shed is here, the Shi-Itake, Reishi, Shi-Itake, Maitake, these are here, it is all in the test kit in it. And then here, you see here selenium and so on and so on. I don't know. Yes. Again and again. And here are the contents of the test set. Yes, I think it is the first part. And have you any question about yes? Good morning, Dr. Lai. You were not absent, but I appreciated your performance from yesterday. You were not absent here. It was very impressive. I will keep it in my memory.
Question.
Yeah.
According to your slide, you suggest that the daily supply of calcium about 200. Yeah.
Calcium?
Calcium. Vitamin D and calcium.
Also, yeah.
And which kind of calcium? Do you suggest calcium lactate or calcium carbonate, or it's the same?
That's written.
Calcium has several types of supply. Calcium carbonate, calcium type of calcium.
Calcium. Calcium, yeah.
One is calcium. One is calcium carbonate. Okay. We have two types. Which one is better?
Yeah.
Calcium lactate or calcium carbonate.
Yes.
Or is the same?
I understand. Here, it is forbidden to take calcium oxide. It will not be resolved. But you can take calcium carbonate. but it is not the optimum. Because calcium carbonate, when it goes into the stomach, it will rise the pH. The pH. Therefore, it is better to take calcium, but it is not so important. But to tell you really how it works, it is better to take calcium aspartate, to take calcium aspartate. Oh. At the moment, there's another one, orotate, calcium orotate or calcium aspartate. These are the best ones. But you can take, when it is not in lower doses, you can take calcium carbonate. Decisive is that you will not apply calcium oxide. That is decisive. No calcium oxide, because it will not it will not segregate in ions in the stomach, and it remains together. Calcium oxide and the most portion of the calcium oxide will be secreted by the feces. But nevertheless, they sell the calcium oxide because it is not expensive. And the next one is calcium carbonate, and it is not so good, but when the dose is not too high, you can take it. But better is aspartate or orotate. Yes. Yeah, next, yeah.
For DHEA and melatonin, you will see the amount of decrease as people getting older, right? Do you just give the dosage, just over-the-counter dosage, or you use more or just test?
Yeah, every time. Every time. But normally when it is the first step, that is here, 3 milligrams, 5 milligrams or 10 milligrams. Here, melatonin. Or the other one. When there is a first step, 3 milligrams, we generally don't prescribe this. Generally. Or when there is a progesterone deficiency of first step, 50 milligrams, we don't prescribe it. Or it is a special case. First step, we don't do anything. That can be the current situation, and next week it has vanished. But here you see yesterday 30, 50 milligrams deficiency of progesterone. There is no discussion. We must give her. And in this case, for a certain time, normally we give every time only 100 milligrams. Whether there is a higher or less deficiency. But in this case, you must give her 200 milligrams of progesterone. 200 because there is a deficiency of 350. But we stay below the tested amount. Below, because you have such curves of the production. Yes, next.
Do you still use melatonin for jet lag, or you don't?
Yeah, I take every day melatonin. Jet lag too.
Jet lag too, right?
And this night I couldn't sleep, and I didn't take one melatonin. And so I got up at 3 o'clock, and I took one melatonin, 5 milligrams, and then the last hour I could sleep. And now I'm awake, I think so. Yes. Yeah, next question. Everybody can take melatonin, but we have a certain rejection. But you are a young lady, and for you it is not necessary. But I'm, I think, a few years or many years older than you, and it is recommended for every person. DHEA and melatonin. For every person has a good effect because, as you mentioned it, we become elder and elder and elder and elder, and that is not in our lifespan. Only 50 years ago, that is our genetically fixed age, about 50, not more. And then after 50 years, all the curves of the hormones, they go down. And therefore, that is not doping. Oh, with your doping. No, that's only to have the curve not so steep down, but here like this. That is the answer. Yeah?
Cholesterol higher will take out the environmental toxin.
Yes.
So if a patient is hypocholesterol, cholesterol is very low.
When there is a high
Cholesterol.
When the
yeah,
patient,
cholesterol, yeah.
when a patient is environmental
Yeah, I understand. Now I understand.
should we boost their cholesterol to higher to expel or just on the
Yes, yes. You see, it is clear when the body will help himself, the body. So he produces more cholesterol to fight against environmental toxins. Yes, and you cannot put them down with statins. That is absolutely forbidden. You must eliminate, neutralize the environmental toxins. And at the same appointment, in the same appointment, we start for the, to eliminate the environmental toxins. Immediately environmental toxins. Not because they pass the blood-brain barrier, all the environmental toxins. And because they are all lipophilic, the environmental toxins. And when it is no problem to eliminate them, to neutralize them, why don't we do that? And then is the next question, after the elimination, is there a high cholesterol level? And in many cases you will find that it is not normal, the cholesterol, but it is not too high. And we start treatment with cholesterol more than 230, 240. We start the treatment, and then not with statins. Then we have a lot of tools. For example, the best, after my experience, this is the red rice, an enzyme of red rice. Monacolin is the name of this enzyme. Yes, and then step by step, perhaps the patient is suffering from a high cholesterol for 10 years, but he didn't know, and therefore you have time enough to apply your ideas. Yes.
From your experience, once you get rid of environmental toxin, how soon would you see the cholesterol level start to go down?
Yes, it is relatively a quick problem or fast problem. Do it, and then you must add here selenium and so on. And you have to support the entire body. And with the vitamins, vitamin B6 is important to perform the system analysis, and then you support all the organs and all the deficiencies, and then you will have, without or with environmental toxin, you will have an improvement. Every time you will have an improvement. Here, you can do the best medication for her. You will not have a satisfying success with her, because there are so many deficiencies. And the body will be healthy. And therefore, do that step by step. And therefore, I recommend